It is Aaron Schmidhuber of Germany. So, away go England. Just for the record, beaten only 3 times in their last 41 internationals. And France, unbeaten for nearly 3 years, 19 games, 16 wins and 3 draws. This rehearsal, of course, for the European Championship match, which will take place in Malmo in June. Number 2, Amoros, who beats the record of Bossis tonight. And the tall man at the back is the sweeper, Laurent Blanc, plays for Naples. Number 6 is Cassani. It's Rob Jones with the throw for England. Gets it back from Neil Webb. And his way forward was blocked, Neil Webb, by Luis Fernandez. Early thoughts on the formation, Trevor Brooking?
Well, it'd be interesting to see how the new lads settle down into the balance. I mean, with the sweeper now being reintroduced, and that's Mark Wright, and Rob Jones and Stuart Pearce getting forward, I'm sure, down the flanks. And then, of course, Nigel Clough, seeing where he can float around and pick up the sort of space that he does find for Nottingham Forest, just behind the front 2, though, this evening for England.
Well, it will all unfold. Here's Amoros. Blanc. It's Deschamps, number 7, with a good run from midfield. 6 of these players on the French side operate for Marseille, the club where Chris Waddle and Trevor Steven now play their football. They are, in fact, the leaders by 1 point in France from Monaco, in the championship there. Cold enough for gloves, as far as the sweeper is concerned. Here's Jones. Now Martin Keown, first cap. Cassani in front of Hurst. Keown who got the better there of Cantona. Here's Shearer. Good running in the middle by Jeff Thomas, and England have their first corner. Forced by Shearer. It's as though Nigel Clough's going to take it. Martin Keown is going into a near post position. Thomas and Hurst waiting to come in. Back in by Jones. Cantona. Fernandez. Cassani. Amoros. Perez. It was a foul by Des Walker. The number 5, the sweeper, as Perez comes back and Walker looks around as to who to mark. Blanc, the number 5, is very dangerous at set plays. And Boly is forward as well here. Boly was... Oh, Cantona's shot hits an English body and comes out. The French appeal for handball. And the Leeds United player, or he is at the moment, gets in one of the first strikes of the evening. Here's Shearer for England. Now, can Mark Wright make his presence felt in the French half? Hurst, Webb, Stuart Pearce wide, Jeff Thomas among others in the centre, and a corner again. And before Basile Boli got the ball out. Mark Wright going up into the 6-yard box now. That was Papin, the ace goal scorer, back in defence. He showed what a good volley he is anyway. Pearce with the throw for England. Hurst is up there. Papin.
Well, a corner kick either end. Perhaps the French defence defended that bit better than England's, where it was scrambled away after blocking a half chance for Cantona. And it's bound to be one or two little mishaps while the sort of new blend settles down. But I mean, from a set piece, it was a near post corner that half a chance did get created.
Cantona again. It's Keown winning the tackle. No! Webb. Clough. Now Cassini coming forward for France. Cantona. Volley. Papin. Amoros. Foul by Neil Webb. Amoros. Blanc. A bad turn by Angloma, that. Rob Jones. Webb, good skill. There might be an offside unless they're careful. No, they stayed in well. In fact, the header by Stuart Pearce gives Jeff Thomas lots of space. Hurst and Shearer waiting in the centre. There's Hurst. Here's Shearer. It's going to come on to Rob Jones to hit it.
That would have been some start for Rob Jones if it had flown in on target, but it was good build-up. They just broke the French offside. They chased out, and Stuart Pearce's header, a bit unlucky that it pushed, in fact, Jeff Thomas wide. The good cross then was touched on, as you see there. And Rob Jones coming in, hits one just beyond the near post.
Papin for France. Webb for England. Little ball into Nigel Clough. Hurst, Webb. Thomas spreads it wide to Jones. Good play by England, this. Webb, and Jeff Thomas is right in there with the header. Made a lot of ground to get into that position, the Palace captain. Away by Angloma. Now Blanc. Fernandez. Perez. Oh, good running by Papin. That really tested Walker, who was up to it. Well, they've been filling each other out for 10 minutes, these European Championship rivals. Didier Deschamps. Perez. It's Mark Wright who's chasing him. This is Cassani. Papin. Cantona. Forward by Walker. It's a good turn by David Hirst. He was fouled, so England get the free kick. But that's one of his qualities, the Sheffield Wednesday player. He can spin an opponent quite adroitly for a big man, and also hold them off too by his physical presence. So Mark Wright is up on the far side as Webb takes the kick. Walker. Shearer up. Here comes Jones. There's a good bold run by the fullback, wasn't it, Trevor?
Well, I must say, delighted to see him get his opportunity. He's only 20, but he's the last 3 months been, for me, best right back in the country, and he is happy to take people on in those situations. Only a yard too far, but the fact that he's got the confidence at such a young age to even think about that already is a good sign.
Amoros for France. Cantona. Webb. Walker. Pearce. Hirst. Teams last met 8 years ago in Paris when England lost 2-0. 2 goals by Michel Platini, the current French coach. Here's Shearer. Hirst. Anglomar. Papin. Bolly. Fernandez. Offside. Cassani, Perez, Didier Deschamps, Fernandez, Amoros well forward. Papin. Once more, it's Fernandez. Blanc. Clough didn't quite make it a challenge, but Mark Wright certainly did, and then Clough found Webb. Some good, neat football being played out there by both teams at the moment. It's all very much to feet. Anglomar, but there's a French player lying injured in the England half. Well, there's the man himself, Michel Platini, on the left of the picture. What an artist he was when he was playing, and how well he seems to have done as a manager. The injured player is Fernandez, number 8. And what happened was that Mark Wright went in, he took the ball, but Fernandez came off worse. He was sent off last weekend, Fernandez, playing for his present club, Cannes. He's 32 now, a veteran of World Cups and European Championships. A long, hard look at Mark Wright. Jones. Keown. Thomas lost out. This is Papin. Now it's Fernandez. Anglomar. Deschamps. Cassini. Amoros. They paint quite nice patterns, the French. Question of what's on the end of it. We shall see that later, no doubt. This is Shearer. And Shearer forces another corner for England. Confidently enough. He's not very highly rated by the press back in France, Gilles Risset, 28 years old and 6'4". He's got the equipment, but only 1 cap before tonight against Kuwait.
I saw the England B game last night as well, and goalkeepers were not particularly good on crosses, and although he's 6'4", you know, it'd be interesting just to test him out with a couple of more speedier, pacier crosses to see if he's as confident, because they didn't look very good in the B game.
Forward by Keown for England. This is Cassini for France. Blanc. Bolly. Perez. Deschamps. Slightly untidy challenge by Stuart Pearce. One of the best free kick specialists they've got, Franck Sauzet, is not playing tonight. He was injured when the party arrived on Monday, so Fernandez and Perez going towards the ball. And Cassini, who's got a good left foot, is also there. This is Papin. That would have been more appropriate at the Parc des Princes last Saturday, I think, Trevor.
Well, not the sort of finishing that his reputation suggests. It's a difficult ball to hit, though, from 20 yards across like that. I thought Cassini, the left footer, would take it, but to hit a ball coming across you like that is the hardest skill, and if you just get a fraction off as he did there, it looks terrible.
That's a good flick on. It's by Shearer. Didn't quite manage to find Webb, but here's Jones. Free kick. Foul by Amoros.
Number 2, Amoros, I think in the 80s was possibly one of the best fullbacks in the world. A terrific attacking player, just come into the latter part, I should think, of his international career, but not a bad example for Rob Jones to follow in the future.
Quite right, he was... here's Blanc. This is Perez. Two waiting in the middle, and one still unmarked. It was Cantona in the centre. This is Blanc again. Volley. Anglomar. That's Papin.
Just in the build-up to that play, one thing, if Graham Taylor is going to develop the sweeper system, which I hope he does, because I think that is the one at international level. If you look at the French side, they've got Cassani, Volley and Blanc, and they have three central defenders, Blanc the sweeper. They're all comfortable on the ball, and they're all involved so far already in different attacks that the French have made. They take it in turns, breaking from the back, and that's something sort of Mark Wright, Martin Keown and Des Walker will have to develop, particularly at home, if the system is going to work. You have to get the three central defenders taking it in turn to bring the ball out into midfield and set up the attacks.
Shearer then for England. Seven changes in the England team. Michel Platini has kept a very settled French squad over the last couple of years. Hasn't had any need to experiment, I suppose, because they won all of their European qualifying games. 8 out of 8. This is Jones. Webb. Thomas. Clough. Pearce. Looks for Shearer, onside, nice turn. Thomas in the middle. And certainly early on, Shearer has been involved in quite a few England attacks. That's a lofted cross from the other flank this time.
He's doing well because he's going down the channels to get away from the sweeper so as he can get one-to-one with his marker and taking up good positions out wide.
This is Blanc. It's too long for Papin. It's Alan Ford and Laurie McMenemy reunited after their Southampton days together. Peter Bonetti behind them. Very much a technical exercise so far, this match. Offside against Shearer. Papin. Cassani. Talking the other night to Chris Waddle about this French team, he was saying they don't have the Gallic flair of the great team of the 80s, Platini and Tigana and Giresse, but they do have a good collective understanding as well as some skillful players. Here's one of the old guard, Fernandez, Cantona, Perez.
Little number 10, Perez, looks quite a bright, lively little player. Plays behind the front two, picking up possession. Reminds me a little bit, although he plays a bit further forward, as Giresse. He was a tiny player, wasn't he? But he had good alertness, good mind, and he seems to be the little brains that pulls the strings going forward.
Yes, he plays for Paris Saint-Germain, the number 10. He's winning his 16th cap tonight. Very left-footed. It's Didier Deschamps, the number 7, who's a more English style of player in midfield. Here's Fernandez. It's Walker. 20 minutes left in the first half at Wembley. No score. Here's Shearer trying to put his partner Hurst away. David Hurst did score on the summer tour against New Zealand. Deschamps. Anglomar. Clough. Thomas. Keown. Pearce. Fernandez. Perez. Amoros choosing his time to come forward. Shows it well too, the captain.
Does like to get forward. I mean, he can play either side, and that occasion picked it up, just pushed a bit wide there. Mark Wright challenged, and I thought scuffed the shot a bit, but it's off the skidding surface. It was always going to go wide, but enough to get Chris Wood stretching. But he is a good two-footed player, carries the ball well, and as I say, hits it across Chris Woods, but always going beyond that far post.
There's Boly for France. Cantona. Fernandez. Anglomar. Bit of movement here by the French. Perez. Didier Deschamps, and good running up from the back by Blanc, the sweeper there. This is Amoros. Away by Walker. Mistake by Hurst. And the shot finally coming in from Anglomar.
They do carry threat when they get sufficient numbers forward. At the moment, both sides have been a bit cagey, cancelling each other out, and I just feel that if the French were a bit more positive, they could create chances. But at the moment, neither keeper has had a direct shot to save.
Mind you, Woods won't be complaining too much about that after his experiences at Highbury, will he? Probably pleased to see a few go wide. Here's Boly. Anglomar. Papin. Cantona. Papin again. And Cantona in the centre now. Forward by Webb. Shearer on the right here, waiting to collect from Thomas. It was Blanc who stepped in. Deschamps. Papin. Perez. Corner. First corner that the French have had. They tend to do quite well, the French, from set pieces. And Kazani is on his way forward. Number 6. So too Boly, number 4. Well, Perez has this left foot, which in the last match against Iceland, when he played entirely on the right, proved very significant. He can cross or shoot cleverly from that side, and although this corner was Stuart Pearson to get on somebody's back there, when this came back to little Christian Perez, that left footer was just over. Well, half an hour gone as Jeff Thomas plays the ball forward. Shearer is there. Amoros steps in. Fernandez. Clough. Amoros. Jones. That was Webb, a late challenge by Bolly, the number 4. It was a bad tackle, that. And referee Schmidhuber from Germany had a good view of it. Neil Webb is the recipient of the tackle. Just look at this. He tried to jump out the way, but couldn't do so.
Right in front of the referee. I'm surprised he didn't at least call him over, Bowley, and just have a word and steady down, because it was unnecessary.
It's quite interesting that somebody from the French coaching staff shouted across at Bowley, as if to say, this is only a friendly, you know, the real stuff's in June. But Neil Webb won't appreciate that. David Batty preparing in case he's needed. The England manager now in the front row. Forward by Mark Wright. There's David Hurst. Perez. Cassini. Papin. Fernandez. This is Perez. Amoros. Cantona. Fernandez. Blanc. Perez. Play on. Webb. Clough. Pearce. There's Blanc, the sweeper. Loves to come forward. He was cross with himself for that pass because it drove Perez much further wide than he intended. But the cross comes in nonetheless.
But that's the sort of run from central defence. Yeah, it all opened up because Blanc ran with the ball, took it past. I mean, if that had been just a yard underweighted, Perez would have been in. And that's, I think, what England must do more. Carry it into the midfield. It will help Nigel Clough receiving possession here if he gets it in more forward positions. But he's having to come too deep because nobody's bringing it out of defence.
Quite right. This is Cantona. Papin's made a run, and here's Deschamps in a good position. Didn't miss the far post by very much from this angle. Didier Deschamps just pulling that one slightly across the goal, but it was a good effort.
Well, I'm not sure Chris Wood didn't get the faintest of touches there, but if it had been squared across, certainly a good run again. They're carrying the ball much better at the moment from midfield, the French. If it had squared across towards the far post, I think number 10, Perez, again was free. But again, they're running with the ball at defences, whereas England are tending to pass it at the moment rather than get defenders.
You may well be right about that. It perhaps should have been a corner, Trevor. If so, full marks to the England goalkeeper. Here's Bolly. Number 4. Cantona. Fernandez. And again, Boly.
Again, the person crossing that, getting back now, is Boly, a central defender. You see, if you get 3 central defenders, they can just break forward and take it in turns. At the moment, that isn't happening from our team.
I must say that's always been the reservation several people have had about the English players trying to operate the sweeper system, so we'll wait and see. This is Clough, and now Webb. And that's a touch on by Shearer, which was meant for Hurst. Deschamps. He's a very tidy, neat operator in midfield, and also a very busy worker. Here's Amoros. This is Anglomar. Cantona. Wright's clearance. Papin's touch. And they do look extremely capable and comfortable on the ball, all the French players. I suppose we would expect that. They've given the game so much, the French, down the years, both in terms of quality, skillful football, and indeed pioneering efforts off the pitch. They really, Frenchmen, got the World Cup underway and the European Championship in days gone by. Here's Pearce. Thomas. Clough. Talking of the World Cup, one of the previous meetings before Graham Taylor's time was, of course, here in '66 and again in '82 between England and France in the World Cup finals. '66 England won here, and Nobby Stiles was vilified for a tackle on a French player, defended by Alf Ramsey. And then in '82, Brian Robson scored in 27 seconds in Bilbao. So there's plenty of history between these two nations. This is Webb. And Boly a bit casual there. Thomas was in. What can England make of it? This is Pearce. Webb. Oh. Won it back well, but then so did France. Play on, they've got the advantage. Anglomar. Cantona. And again, Fernandez. Hurst. Picked off very easily by Cazeneuve. 3 French forwards up with him. Here's Amoros. Swerved a bit. Shearer. A little swerve on that from the French captain. Woods had it covered. This is Blanc, sweeper. Oh, good running by Deschamps. Jeff Thomas tracking him back. Papin! And that's going to be, I would imagine, a corner, because Mark Wright came to meet him and got the last touch.
Terrific cross from Deschamps. Made a good run again from midfield. You see, whips in Ball into the near post. Papin very close, but Mark Wright challenged well, just blocked it. But it was a good break again. They're going very well from midfield in little clusters and just opening up England at the moment.
Comes Anglemar. Whistle's gone. Shearer. Hernandez. Deschamps. Cantona. Free kick given against Martin Keown. Deschamps. Cassini. Your thoughts on this first half, Trevor?
Well, I think from a spectator's point of view, they'd have find it fairly disappointing because there's not been a lot of attacking incidents. I think England at present are about 20 or 30 yards too far back as a whole unit. I mean, if you play three centre-backs and the two full-backs are supposed to be giving the width, you've got to push up much further. At present, when the ball's going into Hurst and Shearer, on many occasions, they are the only two in the French half, and there's no support for them at all, nobody running beyond them, and at the moment we're almost playing like the away side.
Well, England get a free kick here. Cassini bundling over Shearer, and the German linesman on this side, Burkhard Hufgaard, raised his flag, so it's going to be a free kick which Webb will take. Keown has gone forward to join Shearer and Hurst. Pearce is coming in. It's exactly what a manager would hope and expect captain to do.
Misunderstanding, and Gloma thinks the goalkeeper's come in and then just hesitate, just did enough to put off Pearce, but he had a little word with Rousset afterwards. I think that sort of cross should be yours. You see he starts to come, and just for a moment, Gloma hesitated, but just did enough to put him off.
Well played by Webb. This is Jones. It's a good run by Jones. Corner to England.
One of the successes, Rob Jones, and if he could do that more and more as a wide player and feel confident that he has got the freedom to do that, he could make that position as well.
Shearer in the 6-yard box. Hurst, Thomas and Wright waiting to come in from behind. That's Mark Wright. Shearer! Just before half-time, Alan Shearer of Southampton marks his England senior debut with a striker's goal. Mark Wright climbs well from the corner. Shearer spins and beats Rousset.
Well, it's a Gary Lineker action replay, isn't it? I mean, Mark Wright gets ahead, and they are dodgy on set pieces and crosses. Wonderful turn, and an instinctive goal finishing, and not surprisingly wearing the number 10 of the England shirt. Something about that shirt, I think, that makes you into a goal scorer for England.
Well, absolutely. The last goal that England scored was in Poland by the number 10, Gary Lineker, and the man selected tonight to take his place brings a smile to the England bench in the closing stages of the first half.
As pleased as I am with the goal, of course, for England, I think also it'll help the match, because now the French will have to come out in the second half.
So the goal came in the last attack of the first half. Nigel Clough took the corner. Watch for a good jump here by England's Mark Wright. Gets good contact, and Shearer spins and puts that away in some style. And what a moment for him as he walks off with the half-time score. England 1, France 0.
The creators of the top-selling soccer DVD, Footability, two former MLS players bring you the award-winning Footability 1 and 2 Combo Pack. Footability is a proven technical footwork system to help develop true two-footed soccer players of all ages and abilities. Footability's easy-to-use interactive menus will take your technical skills to the next level. Get Footability 1 or 2 for $29.99 each. And with this special Soccer.com offer, get the Footability Combo Pack for $49.99. Take advantage of this special offer today by going to Soccer.com/videos for Footability and your free Eurosport catalog.
They're watching. The Hills Have Eyes, unrated today.
Attention, if you owe $5,000 or more on your credit cards, 800 Credit Card Debt can help you quickly reduce or even eliminate your debt. Whether you have good or bad credit, there are many great options available to help you.
Hi, I'm Todd Cook for 800 Credit Card Debt. If this is your $5,000 credit card debt and you're making only the minimum payments, it could cost you thousands of dollars in interest and take you many years to pay off your debt. But by calling 800 Credit Card Debt now, we'll help you eliminate fees and penalties, reduce your interest rates, lower your monthly payments, or even eliminate your debts completely.
Credit card companies used to hound me. Thanks to 1-800 Credit Card Debt, I lowered my debt, my interest rates, and my monthly payments.
Over the years, we've helped thousands of people reduce their credit card debt fast. Don't be embarrassed or ashamed. We've all been there. We understand and can help you. Call now and put that money back where it belongs, in your pocket.
Call 1-800-587-4216 to see how fast you can get out of debt.
Winning the Cup, your fantasy? Play FSC's free World Soccer 2006 fantasy game. Pick your own squad of the world's top stars and manage your way to the top for a $1,000 grand prize. Log on to FoxSoccer.com and sign up today. You are watching Fox Soccer Channel. Your world, your life, your game. 1 month, every 4 years, only one sport captures the world's attention. And FSC is there every step of the way, delivering a daily lineup of all you need to know about the World Cup, kicking off with Sky News, providing goal-to-goal highlights, followed by Sky Sports News, an in-depth look of each bracket from a British perspective. Then Ticket to Germany breaks down each group with hard-hitting analysis. Finally, Fox Sports World Report with an overall recap of the day's events. Tonight, only on FSC. FSC brings you an encore presentation of this season's Dream Team. Each night, a new action-packed episode leading up to the finale. This week on Dream Team.
Thanks! And it's Gary Payne!
I can never play again.
This is your baby.
Tash has lied to you.
Please. You haven't seen her though? No.
All this week, Dream Team is on FSC.
Gary Lineker's smile of appreciation when Alan Shearer scored has now turned into a... Oh, I can't do it with this loudspeaker going on. Gary Lineker's smile of appreciation when Alan Shearer scored has now turned into a partnership, because he's on is Lineker in place of Hurst at the start of the second half. Here's Shearer. And Lineker wearing number 12 in the penalty area straight away. 3 goals short of Bobby Charlton's all-time record of 49 for England. but he will have taken due note of the way Shearer finished that chance. That's right. Oh, it's a bit late. That's Basile Boli. He'll get booked now. It's his second back tackle. Yellow card for the French number 4. Lineker was on the receiving end of it.
I think it's one of those welcome to the game tackles, isn't it? As he just come on and Gary Lineker jogs away. He doesn't react, but quite right after that first one against Webb in the first half, that had to be a booking.
Perhaps trying to give him a warning of what to expect in the next meeting in Malmo. Anyway, it's going to be Pearce to take the free kick for England. Wright is forward again, far side. Perez. That's Rob Jones. Wright. Most of the crowd had already realised, but there you go. Here's Deschamps. Pearce. Oh, he's offside.
David Hirst probably disappointed just to get the 45 minutes and then be replaced. I think more than anything what he's got to learn from Gary Lineker is probably his movement, how he tries to get away from his markers and to... At this level, it is difficult to lose somebody, a quality marker, but I think if he watches Gary Lineker, the runs, the way he spins off people, that is perhaps what you know, David Hirst now has to make from the transition from club football to international.
Right. Deschamps. Anglomar makes a forward run, back by Pearce. Blanc. Volley. Thomas is challenging Perez, who's a nimble player, number 10. Again. Play on. Kazani. That's Anglomar's cross. In fact, both fullbacks, Amoros and Anglomar, were in the attack there. Rob Jones diving in a bit. It's going to be a free kick to France. Amoros will take it. Volley has come forward. Offside, Lineker. Lineker's now winning his 72nd cap for England, which, by coincidence, puts him level with Alan Ball, who was sitting within the first half. That's Webb. And here's Blanc. And Ball, who's England career as a player has been well chronicled. Amoros just making sure that Lineker's all right. I think he may have hurt his hand there. Keown, Thomas, forward by Pearce, Fernandez, Shearer's challenge. The last defeat that France suffered was almost 3 years ago, March of '89 at Hampden Park, 2-0 against Scotland. So England have now given themselves a platform here to maybe inflict the first defeat in 20 games on Platini's side. It's going to be Pearce with the free kick. Short to Clough. Keown. Right. Jones is well down that right flank. Certainly shown a willingness, Rob Jones, to go at an opponent. Here he is again. Nice ball to Webb. Cut back towards Jeff Thomas. Papin. Des Walker comes with him. It's Thomas who found Clough offside. Lineker. Papin. Shearer wins the free kick. Great by Deschamps. Cantona to his left. Papin on this side. And they were stretching there a bit, England.
Just caught a man short there, England, but fortunately the French didn't quite make the most of it. Papin's cross cut out.
Lineker. Fernandez. So that's where the French sweeper likes to play. Deschamps, Cantona, three in the middle for a cross, away by Keown. Amoros well forward again, Cantona. Clough. Good running by Jeff Thomas on this side, brilliant running, and he's through. Can he finish? Well, there's the answer, I'm afraid. A negative.
Well, it was a super build-up by England, and then Jeff Thomas has been so near on many occasions. Nigel Clough played a good ball. Gary Lineker releases this perfectly, definitely onside. They moved up for it. and you have to think he's got to carry it. I know the goalkeeper's out, but it's a difficult ball to chip. I think if you just carry it and try to make a shooting angle, well, it's easy to sit up here after the event, but afterwards, that was the wrong selection, the chip.
Volley, Papin. For Jeff Thomas, the first England goal just won't come. It's his 9th cap tonight. Palace captain. He scored 9 for his club this season, but yet to score for England. Deschamps. Free kick to France.
At least the encouraging thing from the Jeff Thomas breakthrough was that people are running from those deeper positions now. And when the French do push up for offside, it is important people go from midfield. That it was a wasted opportunity, unfortunately.
Perez. Amoros. Papin. Deschamps. Cantona. Volley. Basile Boli has scored once in his 31 games for France before tonight. Comes from the Ivory Coast. Here's Mark Wright. Rob Jones. Flick on, offside against Shearer. According to the linesman anyway.
Well done.
Anglomar. Cantona. Blanc.
Cool play by Neil Webb. He's quietly, I thought, contributed well and linked well in midfield since his return. I mean, his passing is accurate and he can keep possession well, so it'd be good if he can get back into his midfield slot for England, because we are short at the moment of good creative players.
Well, Platt and Gascoigne obviously injured, and John Barnes, and David Rocastle would have played tonight, but for an injury in training. His club, offside. Nigel Clough with the perception to see the opening. Blanc. Deschamps. Oh, Laurent Blanc, a good run from the back. Not a good pass. Pearce intercepting. Jones. Unlucky. Fernandez. Cantona. Anglomar. Perez. Anglomar. Challenged by Pearce. Goal kick, I would have said.
I think we should mention skipper Stuart Pearce, because you tend to take it for granted. I mean, he's had an excellent match again, and it's quite a fascinating little duel there with Angloma. But I mean, he watches the run, and that block tackle, I think, sent the shudder through the ground. But I mean, he is so reliable and dependable. But another outstanding match for him.
That was Deschamps, and then Wright. Shearer, Jones. Two of the newcomers combining, and a good, useful return ball that it tested Cassini, who dealt with it capably. Bully. Nice touch by Fernandez. Here's Papa. Walker's touch. And it was Cantona who had the shot. Instantly, as it came back to him, Papa set it all up. And Cantona just hit it first time. But Chris Wood has been pretty sound tonight when he's been called upon. And he wasn't going to get caught out with that. It was really a drilled clearance by Walker that came back off Papa. And Lineker for England. Gary Lineker. That's not quite what we've come to expect.
Arufa was smiling. I thought it was the perfect finish. I mean, he just skipped past Blanc there, and he's been pushed out wide. He can't chip it because he's too near the keeper, so he gets a bit closer and then just lifts it. And I thought it was going to go in, but great skill, because he waits for the goalkeeper to commit himself. There he goes, lifts it over him, just pulled it across the goal. Nearly a classic finish.
Nearly number 47 for England for Gary Lineker. Pierce. French defence caught out again there. I must say, if there are any encouraging signs for the European Championships, perhaps we should wait until this French attack develops before we get too confident about that. This is Deschamps. But England have found some gaps there. Fernandez. Papa, he might find one here. Fernandez. Des Walker lost his bearings. Half won it back. Webb. Now then they are stretched again. 2 against 2 here. Lineker against the sweeper Blanc. Shearer in the middle. Others arriving. It's beginning to open up this match now. At both ends, there's a French player down in the England penalty area. Technically offside. I think it's Papa. Deschamps, and the referee will have to stop this, won't he? Because if the French will stop it. That's the answer. All manner of people racing on. I think there's an England player injured as well here. Des Walker.
Probably did it in the same tackle, because it was a great last desperate tackle by Des Walker initially, which blocked Papin, and then he did just made a miss hit of the clearance. Then, if you can see, just stretches out. Just Papin gets hurt there, and then I think Des Walker just turned his ankle. But that was a vital interception. Otherwise, he was clear.
This man is said to be going to Italy, maybe even to AC Milan, for a fee somewhere in the region of £10 million sterling. So no wonder he's probably very highly insured.
I think he'd be quite relieved as Des Walker's not over there to mark him as well.
Well, you never know, he might go there. It's been talked about, isn't it? This man's in Italy at the moment on the ball. Laurent Blanc of Naples. Amoros. Cantona. Jeff Thomas. Deschamps.
First chance I'd like to see Cantona, who's of course now at Leeds United, playing up with Papa. I'm a little bit disappointed, to be fair. There's a little bit of close control, but he hasn't got a lot of pace and doesn't seem to take people on. And I must say, I was expecting a bit more. I'd be interested to see if he can develop into the Leeds side, of course, without Lee Chapman. But on tonight's evidence, I'm not sure he will be the ideal person for the English modern game.
They want £800,000 from, I'm told, his club Nimes. Howard Wilkinson, the Leeds manager, is here today to see how his on-loan player performs. Doesn't particularly get behind anybody, Cantona. He's not that quick. He likes the ball into feet. And he's lost out there to Nigel Clough, and here's a chance for Lineker again. Still Lineker. Kazani in the way. Another solo run by England's top scorer.
Movement in attack for England with Gary Lineker coming on alongside Alan Shearer has looked definitely better this time.
Fernandez. Deschamps. French are only leading 2 back at times, Trevor, in chasing this equaliser. They're prepared to take any manner of risks. That was Amoros, and a good save by the goalkeeper. The French captain bringing out of Chris Woods a good tip over. It's well struck by Amoros from, what, 30 yards? Blanc and Bolly have both come forward for the corner, so has Anglemar. There's Blanc clicking it on. Walker out, Cantona. Chris Woods will be pleased with his display tonight. Just dealt with everything quite capably. Lineker's touch to Shearer. And Jones is well forward here as well, the right back. He is a very progressive player, isn't he, this 20-year-old from Liverpool? He doesn't need to be asked twice to get forward.
Well, it's early days in the first game, but I must say, for me, he's the pick of tonight's newcomers. I mean, I think he looked very assured. They're again overlapping, which you need. Certainly Stuart Pearce hasn't had the chance to do that this evening, but Rob Jones, who made the first goal, got the corner that the goal came from, and every opportunity has been going down that flank.
Down the flank for France is Perez. Clough. There seems so much space on the pitch at the moment. Amoros. No foul. I quite like the style of this German referee too. He's a no-nonsense official. He doesn't overexert himself, but he's normally on top of everything. He's not kidded either, is he?
That's a key one. There's about 3 or 4 occasions where players have gone at people and then tumbled over looking for free kicks, and he's not interested and makes it very apparent. He gets quite bored with their efforts to get a free kick on the edge of the penalty area, which will hopefully discourage them in the future.
Mind you, coming from Germany, I suppose you've seen a few players acting in his time. Long. Fernandez, Thomas. Fernandez again. The thing about watching France, any generation of French players, is you seem to always get a good game because they're not made up of a defensive mentality, and they give the other team a chance to play. Think back to the great World Cup matches that France have been involved in. The semi-final in '82 against Germany, the game that was settled on penalties, and in '86 in Guadalajara when they played Brazil in the quarter-final, and France won on penalties. One of the best games ever seen in the World Cup. And that tradition is really being carried on here. The players may not be as technically gifted one-for-one, but there's a nice open expression about the game. This is Blanc. Running out of space. France are going to make a substitution in a moment. Time for a double change by the French. They're going to take off Perez, number 10, and Fernandez, number 8. And coming on are Jean-Philippe Durand, number 13, and also Amara Simba, number 15. Simba from Paris Saint-Germain, a striker who scored in the last international against Iceland with a bicycle kick. He'd be pleased to produce that at Wembley, where France still haven't scored a senior goal.
Interested to see Simba, the number 15, Paris Saint-Germain, because last night in the B International they had a lad, Ginola, who played for Paris Saint-Germain, who I thought was the best player on the field, was a striker, and if he's ahead of him, then he is an impressive player. And Ginola was one I think could well be set for the European Championship. He impressed me enormously at QPR last night.
13, Durand played, of course, in the B match, didn't he? Here he is. Down the left-hand side now against Rob Jones. It'll be a free kick, though. Durand comes from Marseille, like 6 of the others. And the paparazzi who've been looking at Monsieur Platini, as well as the match. Now, either England are going to inflict on France their first defeat for 3 years, or else the French are going to have to score their first ever goal at Wembley. One or the other is going to have to happen here. But it has been a most enjoyable second half. And there's more to come. Here's Shearer. Lineker's in the middle, being joined by Nigel Clough here. Good volley. Lineker off the bar again. In. Lineker finishing it off, but Nigel Clough gets credit too. It's 2-0 to England after 73 minutes. And Gary Lineker has scored his 47th goal for England. Great cross by Shearer. Volley by Clough. Off the keeper. Lineker. Keeper. Bar. Lineker. Goal. Trevor Brooking.
Best move of the match, and I think England definitely deserved that goal. They played very well second half. Alan Shearer took that superbly, that pass from Webb. Pulled the cross beyond everyone. Nigel Clough kept superb volley down, and then the instincts of Gary Lineker took over. Off the crossbar, you're not going to deny me. And another goal to his tally.
It's also proving a very good night for Graham Taylor's judgment, isn't it, after some of the question marks raised in the morning press. He had a look at Hurst and Shearer. Shearer scored. He then brought Lineker on to show he's not been rejected, and Lineker scored. So what more can a manager do? 2-0 to England. Wembley full of noise. The French have got an awful lot to do now to protect this unbeaten record. Nigel Clough took up a great position on the far side of the penalty area from the cross, and he showed what a good volleyer of the ball he is. Pity for him in a way, it couldn't have been his goal, because he's never scored for England, but here are France on the attack. That's a very good run, and here's Anglemar. Amoros. I do think Amoros is a terrific player. I mean, he's nominally a fullback, but he's all over the place. Trevor Brooking said he was one of the best in the world. Well, I can only endorse that. And that's poured back for Simba off the post. And Woods, has he kept it out? Well, I honestly couldn't tell from here. It was a brave bit of goalkeeping. Just because of a goal's been given anyway, maybe a foul on the line. What do you make of all that?
Well, it was a foul in the end. Great relief, I should think, for Martin Keown, who tried to play it back there, got intercepted. A little touch against the post by Simba. There it goes, a little teaser. Papin coming in, but good goalkeeping by Chris Woods, and it's shoved over as Papin slips in.
It looked like being France's first goal. It was Simba who really pushed it onto the post, and then Papin who collided with Woods. Well, there's 15 minutes to go still, and I haven't enjoyed a second half at Wembley in an international as much as this one for some considerable time. Both teams are producing enterprising football. And there's excitement in both penalty areas. You don't often get that in international football these days. And there's also a fair amount of, oh dear, that spoiled it. I don't know why Cassini felt the need to do that. He thought he'd been the victim of a high challenge. That's going to be a card. Amoros trying to calm it down. This isn't the old Five Nations Championship, you know. And Cassini has gone charging in to Neil Webb. Trevor.
He's just obviously an apprentice of the kickboxing technique and decided to test it out, but I couldn't see the point. He didn't want him to take a quick throw, obviously, but it was stupid to actually make contact.
Michel Platini was at pains to suggest at the press conference that the French footballers are nothing like the two rugby players who were sent off at the weekend. Well, for a moment, Cassini was almost of that type. Here's Durand. Almost sport the beautiful game. Anyway, it's still 2-0. We've still got 22 men on the pitch. Here's Didier Deschamps. And Anglemar. Side netting. The others in the middle thought he should have crossed it.
It was a good turn. First time he's actually got past Stuart Pearce and just hit it into the near post on that occasion. But they'll swing low coming out from the crowd. And Gary Lineker showing why he is such a terrific finisher at this level. Alan Shearer takes that in his stride very well. Again, as he did for the goal, turns very well. He had a quick look up to see what his options were, kept it down well, Nigel Clough, the first header, and there's not many that would have been alive to make the second.
Deschamps for Papin, offside. Offside. Wouldn't have mattered. Jean-Pierre Papin found some space there. He didn't agree with the linesman. Well, if the game in the European Championship gets close to this, we're in for a treat. First one team threatening to score and then the other. Chris Woods came a long way. Papin had enough presence of mind to beat him, but it was offside anyway.
One of the few occasions the French have made a success of their final pass. The last third of the field have been disappointed for me. Papin is, of course, a dangerous striker. Cantona, for me, hasn't really done sufficient, and it's just that final third that they're going to have to improve, and I'm sure that they have done so in the last 2 years to have won their 8 qualifying games, but this evening they have disappointed me in that department.
I think that's very fair. Here's Cassini. Actually, at times, Amoros has looked their best attacker, hasn't he, from the wide left position. Simba, that's a good turn, though. Challenge by Keown. Simba's cross. Walker. Corner. Simba has given them a bit more impetus since he came on. Amoros will take the corner kick. Cantona in the 6-yard box, and Cassini goes forward. Pearce. Cantona going for the overhead. Volley! Whistle's gone. Whistle's gone. That might be dangerous play against Eric Cantona for the attempted bicycle kick. Sometimes referees do penalise those. It was a bit of an up and under for Stuart Pearce here. Here comes La Bicyclette. Dangerous play. Lineker. Volley. Right forward for Papin. Good test this for Des Walker. Pearce. And the crowd are really enjoying their football tonight here. They're singing. So many times Wembley crowds have got frustrated, Trevor, but I don't know about you, I don't really want this match to end.
Well, after the caginess of the opening half, when neither side perhaps wanted to commit themselves too far going forward, and then we got the England goal just before half-time, we hoped it would open up the second half, and it has done, and there's been some good play, particularly, I think, from England. You know, Jeff Thomas missed that chance, and then the Gary Lineker goal. I think they've played much better, had much better movement up front, and Nigel Clough has been helped by the movement up front. He's come more into the game also.
Certainly has. Amoros, who's been in all the way through. Cassini. Simba. Makes no difference to the French, the number 15. And Now got Bully injured. Blanc. Deschamps. 10 minutes, just a little under to go. England 2, France 0. France staring defeat in the face for the first time since March '89. Pearce, Thomas. Pearce wanted it played back to him. Too late now for the through ball.
That was a run Stuart Pearce made for an FA Cup goal when Nigel Clough played him in against Bristol City. Played it square, goes for the run. If Jeff Thomas could just have lifted it over the top, but it was on his right foot and he just tried to get it on his favoured left.
Franck. Tucked into Papin. Forward by Jeff Thomas. Anglemar found Cantona, who tried to get him the ball back. Cover coming up here from Mark Wright. Shearer get a foot in. It's a good flow to the match. Now, Cassidy. Good turn by Simba. Spreads it wide for Giron, the other substitute. Simba now far post. Clough is back there helping. And his club colleague Pearce with the clearance. Lineker gets back to make a challenge. This is going to come to Webb. Now Shearer. Now Lineker. Oh, it's out.
Again, it was a good controlled layoff by Neil Webb. He's made a good return to the England midfield.
I think there are quite a few plus points for Graham Taylor to look at. Here's Anglemar. Giron. Good effort. Gets away and Walker helps outwards. Cantona. Right. Shearer. Cassini. Simba. Right. Clough. Webb. I do think Shearer's acquitted himself mighty well in his first full international. Forward by Bully. Here's Papin. Is it going to be the partnership that matters in the European Championship? Shearer and Lineker.
Well, I think they've done extremely well in the second half. There's no question that at present, Graham Taylor would think will be very tempted. Alan Smith, of course, has played a number of games and he did get a knocker for Arsenal on Saturday, so may have missed out this evening. But the Shearer-Lineker combination definitely has done very well second half. And for me, Rob Jones, the right back, has been outstanding as well.
Simba for France. Cantona. Anglemar. Trying to steer it into Papin. Giron. Simba. Oh, it's Clay. And Taylor sharing a few thoughts with those alongside and behind. Maybe thinking of a late substitution, I don't know. Yes. Maybe a chance for Matthew Le Tissier at the end of the evening. Long. Deschamps. Cantona. Papa. Amoros. Keown. Durand. And again. Missed out there. Webb. Shearer to Thomas. Deschamps. Simba. Now Nigel Clough found some space there. He was found by Webb and he pushed it on to Thomas, and Lineker's gone running. Oh, well, his run was not read by Jeff Thomas. There was a flag up anyway, I think, on the far side for offside. Crossfield ball by Papa.
Mark Wright's done well this evening, returning to the international scene after an injured-stricken season with Liverpool, but his return, as I'm sure, pleased Graham Taylor with the view to the European Championship, because his experience will be needed.
Yes, Lineker. Two defenders, they're almost in each other's way. It's going to come out to Stuart Pearce. Lineker's hovering again. Oh, they appeal for hands there. Anglamar. Durand, who got away with that interception in the penalty area. Referee thought it was his chest. Cazalet. Blanc. Outside in Durand. That's a pretty good challenge by Jeff Thomas. Free kick, Shearer foul. Well, Michel Platini facing defeat for the first time in just about 3 years, with Gerard Houllier, his assistant there. Shearer. Nice appreciation of where Nigel Clough was then. Jones. Lineker was hovering. Blanc came to meet him.
Three new lads doing well there. Alan Shearer showing for the free kick down the line, switched it inside to Clough, spread the play to Rob Jones, and a good cross cut out.
Clough to Jones. Walker. Keown. Corner to England. Keown taking up the near side position here. Clough's cross. France play their way studiously out of defence to Simba. Good break here on the right-hand side. Cantona.
Cantona hasn't had the best of evenings, and I suppose what's gone before just about sums up that shot.
So, England inflict on France their first defeat in 20 games, their first for nearly 3 years. Gary Lineker scores his 47th England goal to make the victory certain and give England a big morale booster before the European Championship meeting in June.
Limited Footwear by Mark Echo.
Would you like to lower your mortgage payments up to 33%?
I can reduce my monthly payments? Tell me how.
Introducing Smart Choice, the home loan exclusively from Quicken Loans. Whether you're buying a new home or refinancing, Smart Choice is the answer. Here's an example. A traditional 30-year loan for $200,000 at 7% interest would be $1,330 a month. But with Smart Choice, that same loan would be an amazingly low $895 a month. That's a difference of over $5,200 a year.
That's good news. So what are we waiting for?
Call toll-free now and see how you can lower your monthly mortgage payments. The Smart Choice loan will lower your monthly payments up to 33%. It's great for refinancing or for purchasing that new home. Gives you monthly payment flexibility, so you can decide to pay just interest or make payments to principal whenever you want. Plus, with Smart Choice, you'll have extra money each month to remodel your home, pay off credit cards, or whatever you need. It's your choice with Smart Choice. Call this number right now while rates are still low and see how you can lower your monthly payments up to 33% and have more money on hand every month.
Reducing my monthly payments would be great.
It's easy to see how Smart Choice can lower your payments by thousands of dollars a year, no matter what your loan amount. Take a look. The difference can be over $3,700, $5,200, even over $13,000 a year. Smart Choice, the home loan exclusively from Quicken Loans, can work for you, even if you just refinanced.
We got all our home loans from Quicken Loans. We'd never go anywhere else.
So if you're refinancing or if you're buying a new home, call this toll-free number now or go to QuickenLoans.com and lower your mortgage payments up to 33%. But don't wait. Take advantage today before rates go up.
Fox Soccer Channel, America's premier soccer destination, will cover the action from Germany like no other, on screen and online with FoxSoccer.com on MSN. With complete up-to-the-minute coverage, exclusive video, match trackers, podcasts, and live blogs from Fox Soccer's experts in Germany. Remember, for complete coverage of soccer's biggest event, log on to FoxSoccer.com on MSN.
The world's most popular game is now the fastest growing sport in North America. FSC presents live action from the USL's First Division, an elite league celebrating its 20th year with 12 teams and players from over 35 countries, including world-class stars. Introducing new stadiums. Be a part of over 1 million fans that are devoted to this rising league. USL's First Division, exclusively on Fox Soccer Channel.
Next year, I am going to Cancun.
What do you want from us?
Too graphic for theaters. The Hills Have Eyes. Unrated today.
I ask you this question. What makes a good football team? What does that take? I'm convinced it is 11 players believing in each other. America, the world, no longer look forward to playing. Play beautifully.
What are you setting your sights on? And when you see it, will you be ready? Learn why the Army is a great place to prepare for your future. You could get enlistment bonuses and help in starting a savings plan today. Plus, get money for college. Gain valuable experience and a firm financial footing for tomorrow. Call 1-800-436-5076 and get this free DVD and boonie hat. Whatever you're looking for, the U.S. Army can help you find it.
Target identified.
Fox Soccer Channel, America's premier soccer destination, will cover the action from Germany like no other, on screen and online with FoxSoccer.com on MSN. With complete up-to-the-minute coverage, exclusive video, match trackers, podcasts, and live blogs from Fox Soccer's experts in Germany. Remember, for complete coverage of soccer's biggest event, log on to FoxSoccer.com on MSN.
The world's most popular game is now the fastest growing sport in North America. FSC presents live action from the USL's First Division, an elite league celebrating its 20th year with 12 teams and players from over 35 countries, including world-class stars. Introducing new stadiums. Be a part of over 1 million fans that are devoted to this rising league. USL's First Division, exclusively on Fox Soccer Channel.
For Alan Shearer, scores on his debut, and a good night all round, I would imagine, for Graham Taylor, who had a good look at some new players and also got the result. And I'm quite certain, knowing what would have happened if he hadn't been successful tonight, that he deserves every bit of praise for the fact that he is. It'll be interesting to see what they make of it tomorrow. But England have only lost 1 out of 17 internationals now in the Taylor-McMenemy period in charge. They've had a good look at 44 players, and tonight they've certainly done themselves proud against European Championship opponents who'd won all their qualifying games. That's the picture that'll make the morning papers. Lineker and Shearer the goal scorers. England 2, France 0.